Good morning, everybody. Hope you had a great evening. It was another beautiful evening here in Wichita. Low 70s, pretty hard to beat. Not a lot of news out overnight. The euro is way down, crude's off. Gold's kind of holding in there. E-mini's off about 11 points the last time I looked. Financials are kind of moving sideways. So the biggest thing we're probably going to deal with today, dynamics, are end of month and end of quarter, and that tends to freeze the market. If you're going to look at it on a squeeze basis, a short squeeze in the E-mini would probably be more likely than a broad dump, just because of end of the month, end of the quarter. It has nothing to do with fundamentals or anything else. We do have some news this morning. You got Case-Shiller. Average increase in house prices up 0.7. That's a pretty big number. It's hard to believe with deflation going on, but that's the number that is in the market. Chicago PMI. And Counter Day has 50.2. Forex has 52. And consumer confidence at 95.5. Now, the consumer is saving, paying down debt. They're not out there spending. And if you look at the economy around you and what's going, the layoffs in high tech, which has been a source of strength, Intel cutting back. There's all sorts of things going on right now. People being laid off in the high tech industry because of I think they're H-1 visas. Fire the people that you have to pay, say, $80,000 a year. Hire somebody from overseas on a 5-year contract that start at $60,000. That's what the high-tech industry is lobbying for, to get rid of high-cost labor. And think of all the things that could be changed if you lowered your corporate tax rate to the rest of the world, if you got rid of the oppressive overhead burden. If you allowed companies to do the right thing, run their business correctly, virtuously, but keep the government out of it. Think what an industrial revolution you could have in the United States just across the board. And what's this administration's latest move? Net neutrality, to take over the Internet, which was one industry that was not covered by the government. So there's a lot of stuff going on that would make people save as opposed to making a bet on the future. The only good game in town that the administration can point to are stock market prices, and some people say it's cost the government $3 trillion to hold the stock market at these levels. So that's where we are. So end of month, end of quarter is going to tend to hold us in the trading range. If you look at where the market rotations are, you have 27, you've got 31, and you've got 02. So this basically 28 to the buck is pretty good resistance. So we'll make sell 1, 27 to 31, and then 3 to 7 for sell 2. Market is trying to trade up right now. We may have rejected prices at 25.5, but if you take a look at it from a volume standpoint, volume is moving up in the distributions. This is a B pattern, and if Y or Z period, we can't get through this 25, 25.5 area, it would be a short. If you're going to bring it in, leaning against 20, so 17 to 20, 1 will be buy 1, and then 9 to 13 will be buy 2. But my feeling is end of the month, end of the quarter, will tend to freeze the market. Okay, looking at the 30-year, we've rejected prices above 28, so 27.31, sell 1. and we're right at about 34 on the knob spread. It has come in quite a bit. Hadn't really changed, but if we can hold this area right here, 24 area, expire there, I think people will be pretty satisfied with that. The bottom side of this, so we'll make 17 to 13 by 1. And put a question mark at 21. A lot of it just depends on what the E-mini is going to do this morning, and 5 to 9 for buy 2. We're going to talk a little bit again today, just for those of you that like to position or swing trade. There's some beautiful opportunities like in the euro where you can buy puts. And how do you set up, or how do you think about that? It's all right in front of you. You just extend the time frame that you're looking at. And the F1 screen for a swing or a position trader is where you're going to do most of your work. And there'll be 2 or 3 times a year where you'll see everything come to balance, and you'll see a new move start that you'll be able to take advantage of. And my screens are all rearranged. Did some work last night to be able to trade off the dome and not off the charts. And it's much simpler for somebody of my mental skills and acumen. I trade off the charts. I've never been able to utilize the benefits of that feature. And if you're trading a lot of markets and you're going to put limit buys and sells, it's probably the best way to look at it. If you're trading a single market and you want to simplify order entry, etc., the dome is the best way to do it. And before you leave any market or you leave the day, you cancel all. A lot of people hit the flatten button. Flatten gets rid of your open positions. Cancel all gets rid of all orders, and we've all learned the hard way. In fact, I mean, you saw it yesterday. Anytime you pick up a new way of trading or looking at it, you screw it up, and I screwed it up royally, and it never is at the market's expense. It's always at your expense, as it was yesterday. Okay, we've got volume in gold down here in the 81 level. You can see it at 81.50 it's holding. We are in an area that this 80 to 75 low volume is pretty good support, perhaps as low as 73. And over the top you can see this 90.92 has been pretty good resistance. So selling failure to get through 90, that 88.90 area, sell 1, and then 93.95. I don't think we can do a lot today up or down in gold. And then our 80 area plus or minus for buy 1. And then 75, 72, 77 for buy 2. Bombing continues in Yemen. The Houthis, or however you pronounce their name, are moving on. Aden. And 2 presidents have left Yemen. And the country, I mean, it is just, it blows your mind when you sit back and look at how the mistakes that have been made and compounded. Nobody could be that, I mean, that ignorant. And yet they are, and you know, somebody else has to pick up the pieces. It's really scary, and that comes in the cost of blood. And we don't expect the most efficient and timely decisions to come out of the government, But strategically on some things, I mean, they're just something you can't do. Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I mean, you couldn't be this damn dumb. I mean, there has to be a plan behind it, in my opinion. But right here we are in the euro. Obviously, 107 is a pretty good trading target, all the way down to 105. We talk about it continuously. Nothing the European Union can do or European Central Bank can save the euro, except an economic turnaround in the European Union. And that's what they're all hopeful for. So we're kicking the can down the road, trying to make things happen. And hopefully growth will kick in at some point. And that's the plan in the United States, and that's every central bank plan is we're going to print money, we're going to keep spending, we're going to increase the power and size of government because that helps the economy, you know. And we're going to grow our way out of this mess. Well, we haven't grown our way out of it yet. Okay, 50 is a round number. So, and the last rotate up in X was 65, and we have this bill from 85. So, 75 plus or minus sell 1. Obviously, we've got to get through 50 to get there, and then 108 even sell 2. I haven't seen any specific news articles on what the agreement is, what the liabilities are between Greece and the European Union. The details are scanty or sketchy. A lot of supposition out there, but my guess is if the previous pattern is we'll get some good rhetoric, Greek will make promises to work on these problems, and yes, we're going to address these specific problems, and by golly, we're going to solve them on this go-around, but I don't know. I don't think you'll see a lot of detail. Greece is fighting for their current way of life and their current government employees being able to keep their jobs. And the private sector has suffered. Even the extremely wealthy in Greece have seen their asset value go down by about 20-25%. Still pretty fat on a relative basis, but that's a pretty big hit. Okay, 47 would be where my eye would go first. 47, 47 and a quarter. Probably the next rotate up will be in crude oil, the actual invasion of Yemen, because you don't know how many casualties will be taken. You don't know how disruptive it'll be in Saudi Arabia, politically, stability of the kingdom, etc. But then I think crude will resume its course down. A lot of people are saying that if we do strike the deal that's talked about with Iran, where we just open up everything because they need the cash flow, price of crude will head to 20. I don't know where the price of crude is headed ultimately, but it is pointed lower, and because there's more supply than demand, I think we should sell it. Okay, to the E-mini. The E-mini, end of the month, end of the quarter, if the news comes in as forecast today, with Chicago PMI at 50, perhaps as high as 52, if you believe the Forex forecast, then the market can come back. So when my eye comes to this structure, I see really very, very good support in this 55 to 60 area, and obviously we haven't been below 60 yet, and I see really, really good resistance in the 75 area. If a squeeze is to develop today, I don't think it's going to be because longs are dumping their positions. End of the month, end of the quarter, as an institutional money manager, why would I do that? I think these large institutions are on the sidelines prepared to support their business by buying on weakness. So let's look at a 60 minus market and a 75 plus to get started. So the first cell is going to be 69, 71. Second cell is going to be 74, 76. I like the obviously the number 2 levels better. Because we're pointed lower right now, we might go a little bit lower. We'll take 60, 62 buy 1, and then 55, 57 for buy 2. Case-Shiller plus 0.7. Chicago PMI 50.2. I have seen 52.2. And then consumer confidence, the big number, 95.5. And number 1 focus will be Chicago PMI. Number 2 will be consumer confidence, and that's the big piece of news for the day. Then end of month, end of quarter. Okay, take at least 20 minutes to get everything up and posted. Going to get busy on that. Be back as soon as I can.